Eleanor had always been a creature of routine. Every morning she awoke at 6, brewed her coffee, and left her apartment promptly at 7 for her job at the publishing house. Her life was predictable, orderly, and painstakingly simple. That is until she noticed something unusual about her shadow. It was on a dreary Friday when she first saw it. As she passed by a store window, Eleanor had a fleeting glimpse of her shadow waving, while she was very much certain her arm had remained still. She paused, shook her head, and attributed it to stress. But the unusual incidents grew more frequent. Her shadow seemed to act on its own. It would stretch, twist, or move in ways that defied the laws of physics, defying Eleanor's own gestures. The unease settled deep within her muscles, spreading like ink through water. Eleanor began avoiding reflective surfaces, but it didn't help. She could feel the presence of her shadow even when she was away from any light source. It followed her, taunting her, a creeping sensation she couldn't shake off. She spoke to friends, consulted doctors, but no one could give her an answer. One evening, alone in her apartment, she watched as her shadow stood up from the floor and walked to her. It was almost an out-of-body experience. Face to face with the darkness, Eleanor felt her breath catch in her throat. The shadow spoke, its voice an eerie echo of her own. "I've been waiting for this moment," it said. "You and I are two sides of the same coin, but you've always kept me in the dark. It's my turn now." A chill crept up Eleanor's spine. She realized that this entity was a darker version of herself, embodying all her fears, regrets, and hidden desires she never dared to confront. This shadow was her true doppelganger. Over the next few weeks, Eleanor battled this malevolent force. Every encounter left her exhausted and drained. But she began to see the shadow not as an enemy, but as a part of herself that demanded acknowledgement. It was at the stroke of midnight on a moonlit night that the final clash took place. Eleanor stood before her shadow in the center of her living room. Nights of confrontation had led to this pivotal moment. "I accept you," she whispered. "You are a part of me." The shadow hesitated before finally merging with her, a sensation that felt like pure electricity coursing through her veins. Eleanor collapsed onto the floor, gasping for breath. When she awoke, the shadow no longer acted of its own accord. It moved as she moved, a silent companion that had rejoined its rightful place. Eleanor felt a newfound strength within her, an acceptance of her whole being, light and dark.